around the world. Contact them today at archival.revival@gmail.com. If there's someone you know has these prints, negatives, recording masters, or other materials from vintage Christian films, you can check out their blog at archivalrevival.blogspot.com. Now, just so you understand, Archival Revival wants to pay you for these films. So you can look in your church attic, in the church basement. If you have a friend who runs a Christian youth ministry or these youth vacation Bible study camps, they have these old films in those big metal containers, 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter. Archival Revival wants to buy them from you. So this is a sponsor that actually wants to give you money. And all you have to do is contact them, tell them what you have. If you're in the UK or Ireland or Africa, these films are all over the world, and they're gathering dust, and they're going to deteriorate if they don't get into the hands of Archival Revival. So that's archival.revival@gmail.com, or the blog spot is archivalrevival.blogspot.com. Don't forget, this show is brought to you by pscoco.com. Phoebe Sod is an independent curator with the Cocoa Exchange. The Cocoa Exchange is formerly known as Dove Chocolate Discoveries, and they make the finest silky smooth chocolate because the products start with the best cocoa beans, which are tested for quality and flavor by expert technicians. The Cocoa Exchange offers not just premium chocolates, but anything from sauces and spices to brownie and cake mixes, and even coffee and martini mixes. If you wish to treat yourself or someone you love to a sweet and tasty gift, then the Cocoa Exchange is the brand for you. So you go to pscoco.com, you click on the Shop Now button. You can see all their beautiful chocolates. You can order it right now tonight. It could be in your mailbox in a couple of days. Or if you want to get into the chocolate business, you want to be a chocolatier just like Phoebe Sod, you can click the Contact Us button, and you can learn how to get your own website, go into the cocoa chocolate business, and sell chocolate and make a little bit of money there. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. But you also do all the kind of different services for you. An online dating service investigation. It's called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites. And we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, even gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites. If you think your ex-husband or something is addicted to prescription medication or involved in a extreme online pornography addiction, we can produce a report for you that you can use in court. Adoption investigations. If you want to locate your birth parents or your birth child you gave away for adoption, we can do adoption investigations for you. Asset searches for you. Locate bank accounts, hidden assets, hidden properties, hidden income, all different kinds of services in the asset search investigation. Email tracing. If you need to locate or identify somebody from just an email address, we can do an email trace investigation for you, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, and we're here with Patrick, who is the creator behind the Program to Kill YouTube series, Program to Kill Satanic Coverup. And you can find it very easily just if you go into YouTube and put in Program to Kill Satanic Coverup, it comes right up. So Patrick, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm back. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because now I noticed because we did another interview a couple weeks back, and then the recording failed. It just froze. My computer froze, and it never saved. So this is our second time. But I noticed after that interview, you went back and you updated some content on your YouTube channel, and everybody's so excited. Oh, you're back! You're back! You know, like everyone was going nuts. Do you plan on continuing the series?
Yes, but I don't really think, I don't know. I've saved a lot of material in the last 2 years, so I just made a big compilation with only video archive material. So that's also like fun instead of reading everything every time.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe in the future, maybe.
Yeah, because that is one of the complaints. Some people, I guess they have a shorter attention span. They don't like to read, and they say, oh, I don't like to read. They like more pictures. I guess as years go by, people like to read less. But I would encourage you to look into the Ariel Castro case, who kidnapped the 3 girls over there in Cleveland. Has all these elements, where they destroy his house afterwards, and he was connected with the police, and the FBI questioned him, and all these things that go on in every one of these cases.
Okay, yeah, I really have to look into that. If you can send me a link after the show, I'm gonna do my homework.
Yeah, it's like this. You really got to hunt. You really got to look careful because there's a lot of stuff. And there's even another kidnapper who was on his block who lived next door to him. His brothers were arrested first, and they were let go. Fascinating stuff. His daughter was actually friends with one of the girls he kidnapped, and then the daughter stabbed her own baby. Went to prison for stabbing her own baby, and when she was a teenager, she would run away from home and go to that house where her friend was held kidnapped. It's just a bizarre case, man. Now,
can I say a few things about the Russell Williams case in Canada, the colonel?
Sure.
Yeah, I've listened to, of course, many of your episodes. I think at least 20 or 30 of them. But I really like the podcast with that author Above Suspicion, I think, if memory serves correctly. It was a really good show. I really liked that guy. He was really honest and also very curious about police failures and how the military couldn't recognize a man in their midst who was a serial rapist and a serial killer. I mean, I really think that the places that the crimes were attributed in Tweed, Trenton, one of the largest Air Force bases in Canada, I really suspect that place was under the military-industrial complex, like we have in Colorado. Like William Zabel said, we have safe communities. Like all those communities are with law enforcement, with the military, with intelligence agencies. I really think that the Russell Williams case was connected to blackmail and coercion. I really think those children who were their underwear was being stolen. I think there were like 82 break-ins. I really think it was to intimidate those people in those communities. Those are my theories about that case.
And this is the Air Force pilot in Canada who he flew the Queen, he flew all these big important people.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Right. Fascinating. And you got to imagine how big this is, because in Canada, they only have 27 or 20 or 30 fighter planes. They don't have a lot of a big Air Force in Canada. So this guy is one of the few, and he was like a lieutenant, I believe. He was a lieutenant colonel, big shot. And by the way, there's his confession is available on YouTube, where he's just incredibly arrogant and a matter of fact about the whole thing and very confident, and then just confesses and gives up everything that he did. It's just fascinating to watch. But this guy was classmates with Paul Bernardo.
Yes, he did. He was at the University of Toronto at the economics class, yeah.
So now, and then he would be a logical suspect then too in those rapes, right?
Yes, I think after the arrest of Williams, Bernardo's attorneys were coming forward that they said Colonel Russell Williams was also probably responsible for many of the rapes that were attributed to Paul Bernardo, because it was in the 1980s, I think late 1980s in Toronto, and there were a lot of, I think, 23 rapes in the Scarborough area, and it was the exact same time that Colonel Russell Williams was also present there. And I think it's really naive to believe that after he was, I think, 48 or in his 50s, he randomly just suddenly started killing people and breaking into people's houses and stealing underwear. I think if you're really a serial rapist and a serial killer, you have those tendencies. You're starting very early and not when you're 40 or when you're 50.
Right, and not only that, but he was stealing the underwear, then he would carefully catalog them and photograph them in a bizarre way that he was spending pretty much every waking moment when he wasn't working on this hobby of breaking in, stalking, surveilling, cataloging underwear, this bizarre behavior. Now, he was married while this was going on.
Yes, he was married to Mary Elizabeth Harriman, and she was also very educated, very smart. I think she did work for the Cancer Research Funds. I don't know the exact pronunciation, definition. Yeah, it is alleged that she definitely knew more than she let on, because they shared the same laptop where he had all those pictures, and this guy even videotaped his murders. I mean, the whole session was videotaped. When he bludgeoned a girl to death, he was taking photographs of the blood, which was creating a bigger pool of blood, and he was videotaping and photographing that in close-ups. I mean, you can have an addiction or a fetish, but it's really, really, really weird behavior. I don't know how that comes when you're 50 or 50 years old, like that. That doesn't start it like that. I think he was probably in murderous activities while he was in his 20s.
Yeah, because they say this behavior, you can detect it in childhood, with the bedwetting, the arson, and the hurting animals. This isn't something that just crops up in your 50s. But interesting how his wife, by the way, too, so people have contacted me about that and said that she has admitted complicity in civil suits, that there were civil suits, and she did admit that she was aware of something odd going on.
Correct.
So what are the odds then of you got Paul Bernardo at this class, him and his wife doing this kind of stuff, and you got this other character pretty much doing the same exact behavior? Well, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, pretty slim. They were also videotaping their exploits. They were associated with the high levels of government. I mean, Colonel Walter Williams was in the military. You have Paul Bernardo, who was launching a rap career. He had a rap career in front of him. He was associated with the Freemasons. He was a Freemason. He was also he also had money, and people couldn't account for where he got the money from. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting, because they tried to recruit me for the Freemasons, and it was at a very low point in my life too, when they were vulnerable, and they just swooped right in, tried to snap me up, man. Thank God I didn't go for it. But when they're doing that, they want to know what you do for a living. They want to know, hey, what's your background? Tell us about your family, that kind of stuff. So Paul Bernardo allegedly was earning his income by smuggling cigarettes back and forth across the border. So, what was his front story that he was telling people?
Yeah, I think he was saying that he was becoming a rap artist, and he was also a chartered accountant. So maybe he shared those stories to them. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the next question would be, well, who are your clients? Maybe I know them. Maybe I can send you some work. So yeah. But now, so tell us about the Paul Bernardo, because there's a whole Satanism angle to that's never touched upon. So tell us about Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka.
Yeah, well, Paul Bernardo grew up in a very dysfunctional home. His father was a convicted pedophile, child molester. He had sex with Paul's sister. Paul's mother was adopted by the Eastman family. And according to her husband, Kenneth, she was raped by at least 3 members of that family. So you have a really sexual abuse team in the Bernardo household. Paul Bernardo's real father was actually a wealthy Canadian businessman. So Kenneth Bernardo was really in fact his stepfather, but he didn't know that when he was the age of 16, because his mother told him that, and after that she always told him he was the bastard from hell. And the family life was really unhealthy. He gets sandwiches with ketchup. He didn't get the presents, but there was Christmas. He just was given clothing. I read one time in a book that he was going away for like 2 weeks when he was only 13 or 14 years old, and when he came back, nobody asked in the household where he had been.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so really a dysfunctional home. And Carla Molka, there's much less available. But it's really, it's really speculating. But it is a fact that the Carla Molka family they were really drinkers. Maybe you could say they were alcoholics. They really like to drink, and there was also always suspicion, like how the hell did Bernardo get away with all those